So the number one way to make theme pop in your fiction writing is setting. So setting is one of those literary techniques, one of those elements that is huge because it ties into so many other elements. That's why a lot of times when writers get that spark, if they get that idea, they think, what's the perfect setting for this idea? Is it a mountain? Is it a river? Is it an ocean? Is it a spaceship? They probably won't be a spaceship. But they put a lot of energy into thinking about setting, and that is because it's a huge factor in tying the theme together. And you got to remember all these literary techniques that we talk about. All in theory, one of the ways to teach students is to say all of these techniques need to do their job, and you need to get extra mileage out of them, which means the idea of the character needs to work overtime. The idea of the setting, whatever the setting is, it needs to work overtime, which means it needs to do more than one thing. It needs to be entertaining. It needs to fit with the characters. It needs to be relative to what kind of book you're writing, majestic if it's a long book. It really needs to stitch the theme together. So I'm going to give you examples. We're going to talk about theme in a couple literary works. We're going to talk about four things, and this should give you an idea how important that setting choice, that setting decision is when you are trying to write a novel or a short story, or even make a movie. But if you're going to write and direct and you're going to put a lot of effort into it, maybe small budget, you need to really rely on these literary techniques, and setting is going to be a huge one, just like it was in Garden State. So the last one we're going to talk about is the best movie ever made. First one's going to be a short story. It's Richard Ford, my favorite short story writer. Minimalist, a recent writer, is title story from one of the short story collections, Rock Springs. It centers around a guy that steals a car and he drives the car with his girlfriend and her girlfriend's son, I think it is, and they break down in the middle of nowhere out in the country in Wyoming, in Rock Springs, Wyoming, at a gold mine. And he walks to a trailer and talks to some lady about trying to get a car to get out of there before they catch him with the stolen car. So in this story, there is this tension about him getting this thing figured out with the stolen car. But what I want to say about this story is that the gold mine is a little over the top, like the movie's going to be in the fourth example. It is over the top, but it really plays in subtly into the idea that this guy wants to do something with his life and has completely failed and takes shortcuts. There's a lot of stuff going on with his personality that's just worked out from the gold mine idea. That gold mine is doing a lot of work in that story. And there are scenes where he talks to the girlfriend and where things come out about their relationship that lets you know he's this kind of person also. And a lot of that's more subtle. But what we're talking about is setting, and the setting of the gold mine was a really smart choice for him. And it's one of those choices as a writer, when you make it, you think, oh, that's perfect. And that's the thing about these techniques that do a lot of work for you. You'll know when you get the right one. That's the right character. That's the right pacing. That's the right setting. And that particular case was a great setting. Hemingway in Sun Also Rises, the bullfighting, among other things, was really relevant to what was going on in that story. And it really is a story about kind of the same thing Hunter S. Thompson was obsessed with writing about. Maybe there's some similarities between those two guys. There are similarities in terms of what happened to them at the end. The Sun Also Rises. It's a story of a sense of that mortality. They were more like Hunter S. Thompson, living it up, drinking, trying to bring out this animal idea that you just live in the moment and run around and live your life. In this particular case, the bullfighting set that stage as the kind of animal that goes by instinct alone, that's fighting that kind of captivity that the bull would feel in the arena. All of that works together really tightly for Sun Also Rises. And then Twain's Huckleberry Finn, a lot of people know this already, but the raft on the Mississippi River sets the stage for a lot of the things Twain was trying to get across. And so Twain might be thinking, I want to do it with these characters and with these scenes, but as a backdrop, I do want this river. And what a lot of writing teachers will tell you about Huckleberry Finn in particular is that the way the story's told and a lot of the thematic elements in the story change when he's on the river relative to when he's off the river. So when he's on the ground, certain things happen, certain things move at a different pace, certain characters come up and do certain things. And when he's on the river, he's more alive, it's more real. So that setting is doing a lot of work there because the river also, like in River Runs Through It, your favorite story, the river really does represent a lot of things to our psyche, to our subconscious as a reader that brings us along on that journey. And the last one is the movie Sideways. Best movie ever made. Look it up. It's got more award nominations than The Godfather. And I think any movie that I've researched in terms of award nominations, it's got the best casting, it's got the best dialogue, the best writing, the best adaptation, because the book's not that great. It's a book by Rex Pickett. Sideways, the setting is wine. Now, granted, it is the wine country, not Napa, by the way, it's Santa Barbara, but it is the idea of wine. And so this one does be over the top with theme more so than the other ones because it's a movie. And the theme, of course, is mortality and struggling and the tension that you feel as you get older between getting things done and achieving something and make your life worth something. That's all worked out in the wine. And so the wine represents the aging in a way that it really plays into the reader's experience. The setting is really there and it really works hard to take you on the journey that they have through humor and depression and mental disorder and amoral behavior and all those things that make Sideways such a great movie. And so wine was a great choice. And you know that was part of the spark for that particular book. And then, of course, the spark for the screenplay in the movie, which is that we see them in the wine country. We see them drinking the wine. We see this parallel between the characters and the wine itself. And so that's how important setting is. That's how important some of these details are. And that's how you can think about this literary technique, especially in relation to this thing. Thanks for watching.